Alright, this is section 10-7. It's called circles, circumference, and area. I'm going to start with example number 1A. Should be a lot of fun. So we have a circle here that has a diameter of 5 centimeters. It says find the circumference of the circle. So circumference formula, start with pi d. Pi times the diameter is 5. If you're on Khan Academy, you could leave this as your final answer, 5 pi. But unfortunately, in your homework, you actually have to multiply by 3.14. And if I do that, I end up with 15.7, and this would be just centimeters, distance around the circle. Alright, so that's example 1A. Let's go to number 1B. Alright, 1B has, again, a radius of 3.2. This would be feet. So we use the formula C equals pi d. Well, if the radius is 3.2, then times it by 2 to get the diameter. 3.2 times 2 is 6.4. So this would be pi times 6.4. If this was Khan Academy, you just write 6.4 pi. But in this case, we actually need to multiply 3.14 times 6.4. And it looks like you're rounding to the nearest tenth. So after you get your answer and you round, it comes out to about 20.1 feet. So both of these, 6.4 pi and 20.1, are the same thing. Alright, let's go to example number 2. Number 2 says a tree in Madison's yard was damaged in a storm. Her parents want to replace the tree with another whose trunk is the same size as the original tree. Suppose the circumference was 14 inches. That's important. What should be the diameter of the replacement tree? Well, since we're looking for the diameter, we still use our formula C equals pi d, and then we just plug things in differently. So in this case, it would be 14 equals 3.14 times d. So to find the diameter, divide by 3.14. In this case, after using a calculator, round to the nearest, it doesn't say what to round to, but probably rounding to the nearest tenth, we end up with d equals about 4.5 inches. That's number 2. So we're kind of using the formula to work backwards there. Let's go to example number 3A. I want you to find the area, and it's got the radius of 6. So area is pi r squared. This would be pi times 6 squared. So if we were in Khan Academy, you just write 36 pi. Unfortunately, in this case, you've got to do 36 times 3.14. And using a calculator, we get about 113.1 inches squared. Alright, and that is example 3A. Let's try 3B. 3B has a circle with a diameter, in this case of 31. And we're finding area, so we need pi r squared. Well, since we have the diameter, so the radius has to be half of 31. So if we took 31 and divided by 2, we would get 15.5. So that means we plug that in now since that's the new radius. So we've got pi times 15.5. If this was Khan Academy, we would just write 15.5 pi. But in this case, we need to multiply by 3.14, which would round our answer to about 700, or I'm sorry, that would be 15.5 squared. My apologies. So 15.5 squared is 240.25 pi. So if this was Khan Academy, that would be a final answer. But in this case, we actually need to multiply those. So 240.25 times 3.14. Go ahead, use the calculator. We end up with 754.8 meters squared. And that is a rounded answer since we rounded pi. And that is your final example. Best of luck. Peace out, my brethren.